Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Craig Malkin, a clinical psychologist and lecturer for Harvard Medical School. I'm also the author of Rethinking Narcissism, which is devoted to helping you understand and cope with narcissism in all its forms in all your relationships. Today, I'll be talking about insecure passion, what it is, its connection to getting mired in unhealthy relationships, and what you can do about it. If you like my videos, please consider turning on the notification bell so you can get notified as soon as they become available. Like them, comment, because I love building on the conversations that start in the comment section. What you should know about insecure passion is that, as I said, it's very insidious in its effects on keeping us stuck, even if a relationship isn't healthy, because it increases our sense of attraction to that unhealthy relationship. If you want to understand the underlying mechanism of insecure passion, it really goes back to a landmark study by a social psychologist named Arthur Aaron, who in the early 70s had this idea where he wondered if there were aspects of being stirred up inside that actually increase attraction, even if they aren't particularly healthy, that actually play a role in romantic relationships. So to test this out, he did a study where he took a group of guys and he had them meet an attractive research assistant after crossing a bridge in British Columbia, Vancouver. There's 280 feet in the air and over raging whitewater rapids, just terrifying. I believe it's the Calipano Bridge, and it swayed back and forth, and it felt like you were going to fall off at any moment, even though it was perfectly safe. Had the group of guys crossed to meet this attractive research assistant for reasons that were unrelated or really irrelevant. It was just a reason to talk to her. And then he also had a bunch of guys meet that same research down on the ground, on firm ground. And what he found is that the guys who had to cross the bridge that felt like it was going to fall out from underneath them any moment found the research assistant more attractive and reported her more attractive and had more romantic feelings that were revealed in various ways than the guys on firmer ground. This is a great example, even though it's exactly how the study was done. It offers a perfect metaphor for insecure passion. Insecure passion is when you are in a relationship, and often with an extremely narcissistic partner, it always feels like the ground is going to come out from underneath you. As you never really know exactly where you stand. You might send a text message and say, hey, would love to see you this weekend. Why don't we get together? And the response comes back something like, sounds great, let's try, but with no offer for what exactly the get together is or how are you going to plan it out. Or even more common is you feel like you often see this person, maybe you get together fairly often, but you're the one who always does the reaching out. You're the one who always has to initiate the call, more often than not, at least. And it's as if they never really take the initiative to do that on their side. This can create this feeling, well, do they really like me or what's going on? It can happen very early on in a relationship. These are great examples of insecure passion because what Arthur Aaron determined is even though that study had its limitations, subsequent studies over and over again demonstrated the same thing, which is that if you find somebody the least bit attractive, if you are also feeling a little afraid, there were some studies in a haunted house, I think some kind of thrill ride, it might have been a roller coaster. And if you have a little bit of fear or uncertainty, you're going to find them even more attractive. If you are feeling frustrated or irritated, whether you are fully aware of that or not, or in touch with that, and you find the person the least bit attractive, these are all what Aaron came to understand are sources of arousal. So insecure passion is when those sources of arousal aren't necessarily positive, they're negative, and they often kind of operate outside of our awareness. And when you're in a relationship with someone who's extremely narcissistic, who's sort of responding to those messages in text or email, and it's all very open-ended, and do they like me? Are we going to get together? It generates insecure passion, or even over the long run in a relationship, when you are afraid that if you say something, it's going to blow the relationship up. That sense of walking on eggshells, that can actually, if you have a feeling of attraction to, if you are drawn to that person, it can keep you drawn in, and not necessarily for healthy reasons. That is insecure passion. We want to contrast it with the cure, if you will, the way out of feeling constantly pulled into an unhealthy relationship. excited by it in ways that might even be mysterious to you, is to get back on firmer ground. This is why I love that study, because it's such a great metaphor. Just like the guys who are on firmer ground really were not especially attracted to this research assistant compared to the ones who are on the rickety bridge. If you are in a relationship with somebody and it's not feeling healthy, particularly if you're, say, somebody who struggles with egoism, who might bury their needs and feelings, you want to bring those out. I want to say that again because that is so central to this. The key to moving from insecure passion to secure passion is to get in touch with your needs and feelings. That means overcoming all of those habits that you unconsciously and maybe even sometimes consciously employ in order to keep the relationship going. Like, oh, I'm being overly sensitive, blaming yourself. Oh, I should probably let this go. Burying disappointment when your needs aren't met, because the flip side of disappointment is needs. In secure passion, it's modeled on attachment security, where when you're sad, scared, lonely, blue, you can turn to one special person or persons, the person that you want to be with, your partner, and feel like you are safe turning to them and for mutual care and comfort, that you're safe in their arms. That is secure passion. And the reason it's secure passion is it involves risk. In the same way, you don't choose the risk to be in a relationship with someone where things feel constantly off balance and you're just trying to make sure you don't blow things up by saying the wrong thing. In secure passion, you take a risk by saying, I would like to get together. Can we do it on this weekend? If that's something that you struggle with, you come out and say it. I would like to plan a get together because I would love to see you. And if you are met with a clear positive response, that is reinforcing and it actually creates a feeling of excitement. Anytime we take risk in a relationship, but the difference between insecure and secure passion is the risk is all kind of passive, like something might happen any moment. In insecure passion, it's active. You are doing things, and that actually increases your feeling of attraction. So good example of shifting to secure passion again is if you struggle with egoism. You might have trouble saying things like, oh, when we were talking last night, I really enjoyed the conversation and I really enjoyed talking to you. I was just a little bit let down. You didn't ask me about my promotion because I would have loved to talk to you about it. Now, in a relationship where you feel like this is off limits or mess things up, if you say something that small, you might be tempted to bury it, especially if your rule, the egoistic rule, is the less room I take up, the better. I don't really want my needs to come out. If you bury it, then you don't have that experience of seeing that you can just freely relate and freely express, and the person can meet you there. Now, I understand, and I don't want to overlook this, that in some unhealthy relationships, the person might have a bad response. What I want to make clear to you is there are benefits that accrue from you being able to voice these things regardless of your partner's response, regardless of whether or not they're able to receive it. Because what happens is if you overcome those habits where you're really burying your needs and feelings and your disappointment, by not saying something as simple as, I wish we could have talked about my promotion, or I would really like to hear from you this weekend because, as I told you, it's an anniversary of my mother's death and I was kind of let down that you didn't. If you don't come out with those things, then you are in that position again of uncertainty. And if you do, you are now connected authentically to your needs and feelings. And that is the key to being able to relate in this securely attached way where you're taking healthy risk and you're an active agent in the relationship, and the excitement comes from that. And that is hugely important for you finding your way out of an unhealthy relationship. That is, even if you're with somebody who might get angry or frustrated or not listen to you trying to share in this way, or point out, I would have loved to hear from you, any of those things. Even if they can't do that, it puts you closer to what it is that you need so you can be clear in yourself, so that if you have to then reconsider the relationship or leave it, you have the clarity that you need. So I cannot emphasize this enough in my work with people. I work so hard on this. Set the person's response aside. They may have a positive one, in which case you're moving towards more secure passion, where you can feel a healthy sense of risk. And if they don't, you still walk away with a sense of, I know this is important to me. Or if you're disappointed, you are clearer about what your expectations are and that then makes it clearer to you about whether or not that can happen in the relationship. And that is the start of not only moving from insecure to secure passion, but having what you need in order to leave a relationship that isn't working. So I hope you found that helpful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and come back for more. I plan to share more over time. Thanks.